not too surprising there. So today, I'm going to start off just telling you a little bit of the background of PATC, who we are. I'm going to give you a history of the trail map history of PATC, and then I'm going to hand things over to Chris, who's going to do a deep dive into the work of the GIS committee in producing these maps. And so hopefully everyone can see that this kind of gives you the lay of the land. Our range for the trail map starts in Virginia, going from south to north, in the Lexington-Lynchburg region, and then go up to Harper's Ferry, the 40 miles of AT in Maryland, and all the way up to Harrisburg in Pennsylvania. And so PATC was actually founded in 1927 to build a section of the 2,190-mile Appalachian Trail. And today we manage a 240-mile section of the AT, the entire 250-mile Tuscarora Trail, and 650 miles of other trails in the region. So if you're counting, that's over 1,100 miles of trails in total. And so if you're a hiker and you come across a 100-foot staircase in the woods, you know that someone had to build it. And these are a couple of examples of what PATC does. And I think here we're similar to OSM, where there are many people doing a few steps at a time and creating something big. So PATC has 8,000 members. And where do they come from? Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, and that kind of south central part of Pennsylvania. And so every year, over 1,000 people volunteer around 10,000 hours. And there are also a half dozen paid staff members who also hold down the fort. And so here are some of the things that PATC does. Let me take that in for a second. And then some of the less photogenic things that PATC volunteers are responsible for would be the trail protection and land management. That's really integral to maintaining the trails, because it's not just a path that people walk on, it's the land that they walk through as well. And so Chris will be going more in depth on this topic later. But now I'm going to go into the compressed history of PATC's trail map program. All right. So the club, as that was created in 1927 to build the trail, and because there was no trail there, the surveying and mapping was also taking place at the same time from the very beginning. But this is very much an analog undertaking using a measuring wheel and a compass. And so here we see PATC founder Myron Avery with his legendary measuring wheel and friends, because that was the activity of the club at the time, going out and walking where the trail would be, measuring it, surveying it. It was all kind of one piece. And so now we're gonna skip forward to 1938. And so here's what the map of the central region of Shenandoah looked like at that time. And so 1941, this was, the era of the Civilian Conservation Corps building trails in the national parks. You can see maybe some minor changes in the trail map. Okay, and in 1969, everyone is looking very cool, wearing sunglasses, mountaineering. And so things kind of continued on in the same vein from the 1970s up through the early 2000s with, pencil, paper, compass, measuring wheel. And, it's only recently that things have really started to change. So just gonna answer the question I asked at the beginning, why people like PATC maps. We have the data collected on the ground. We know the boundaries of the lands and land ownership. We also care for the trails. And so with that, I'm going to hand things over to Chris to tell you about the GIS program.
Yes, and I'm shamelessly here to recruit as well. So I don't know if this is conflict of interest. I think I'll be joining you guys because I'm having the same problems It used to be, when I joined the club, but there was a cartographer that went into a cartographer's office, locked the door, and smoke would come out some chimney and there'll be a new map. And there was this a one-man guy. So now it's opened up quite a bit. And our last official photographer was probably involved with the club back in 2015. So 2023 is really coming to the point where we're getting productive again. We've, is it easy just to hit the key or do I have to work the mouse? Oh, there we go. So the last time, the first map that we've been able to put out was the new Central District Shenandoah map, the 2013, and now 10 years later, we have a new one out. What's cool about these new maps, the new projects we're doing is everything is GIS-based data now. And they started collecting in 2010. There's a group called the GIS Rangers. I don't know what the teddy bear is about, but that is their mascot. So they have a very precise methodology that they go through. One of the guys has stepped up and bought himself a Trimble DA2, and I've never even worked with it, but we're using that for very accurate centerline data. Some of our train when we're doing trail moves, and then for a general collection of POIs, points of interest, our assets. We're using the garments. So this is the idea: is the GIS Rangers collect the data, and for a number of years it was just sitting there and taking up disk space. And finally, we got around to importing it into an actual GIS system, and we're using the Esri online, and right now that's what we're doing. So we're bringing all those trails together. We're creating a work group with all these different layers, and we've categorized what's important to us. And as you were talking earlier, some of it's going to show up on our maps. Some of it's going to be back office, enterprise. You know, we don't show blowdowns down on our maps, but our trail maintainers will be interested where the latest blowdowns are. And so what I've done, similar, what we were doing, or currently doing, is going out and collecting authoritative data sources for our base map or our foundation data, and pulling together right now in Adobe Illustrator with Map Publisher, the way the previous cartographer did. And so right now, the data has all been updated, and it's nice that I can reach out and grab the feature layer data that's on ArcGIS Online, pulled in, and have it with the right symbology on the map. Just to give you an idea, out here, so this is things we're starting to do online. Is these are all day hike maps that we have that are available. People can go out to and download. As Erin was saying, our maps go all the way up to Harrisburg, down to Charlottesville, and then you have the Appalachian Trail, which is the center red line, out to the west, curving around into Tuscarora Trail, which was built, well, started out in the 60s because they were worried about development west of DC, moving out there. So there's this trail. It's really a very nice wilderness type trail that we're in the process of trying to protect. And this is what I've been involved with a lot, is getting the understanding our boundaries, going back and finding the pins, the surveying pins that have been out there for 30 years, 40 years, and recollecting them. Here, the yellow, this is a great new easement. We finally, after 10 years, got 5 property owners to agree to give us a 50-foot right away for the trail on top of the mountain. So these are the type of issues we are dealing with. The green areas are properties that actually have been bought years ago to protect the trail. We have easements, and then the yellow, I guess the orange at the top right, that we're having some boundary issues with our neighbors. So you know, they're claiming hikers are walking on their property, and we're claiming bikers or motor ATVs are on our property. So we're going out and making sure we understand where we'll have enough time on this. We also have people that are dealing with invasive plants issues. So they're using our GIS data and doing plans for going out and dealing with the invasive species. Again, this is where we have our trail and we're trying to use the Tribble data and getting some not boundary data from the counties put on there, but actually trying to figure out where our trail might be on and off of the easement that we have there. We work with the Shenandoah National Park people, sit down, make sure we know where the latest public access, and we have the Rapidan Wildlife Area Management Area. Another one, we had a bunch of trails on the old map that, people can't hike on anymore. There's no way to drive up there, but they were still on the map. So we were going through and pulling those out. This one was right before I was going to print this. There was a trail that went from this dirt road. There's a trail we had on that went up this dirt road, and there's a big issue going on with the local land owners that say we don't want people coming on our trails anymore. So we had to do a quick update. And so that's important for us. We manage the trails in the area. So working with our neighbors, our property owners, and making sure people know where the trails are active and being supported. And so, yeah, I'm looking for application developers, data wranglers, and cartographers, but I guess I can work through you guys now. So. And, Thomas Johnson really was the president of our club and did the history of the Potomac Appalachian Trail Club. It's a great read, and GPS Ranger photos. And actually, this is the GPS Rangers on the right. They go out in the summer to work with some of the western public lands and collect data and give it to those state parks, national forests. So that's everything. Are there questions?